Hey, Connecticut. Soon you'll have to take us seriously because things are happening. But on the screen here is Chris Murphy, my opponent. And I did run against Blumenthal in 2022, which the race was completely rigged by both the Connecticut GOP and the DNC. For example, not a single Republican registrar validated the signatures. And there are 39 towns that took Zuckerberg bribes. And they're all guilty of not responding to the federal subpoena, which is now in the Second Circuit Court. So, since they never answered it, and they're accused of treason, they're probably in trouble. But watch this video. It's hilarious. This is your senator on the Senate. You can't believe what he says. Watch. Now, he's in control of HARP and DARPA as DHS U.S. Senate Subcommittee Chair. Take myself off the screen.
Is our best chance, perhaps our last chance, to save the climate from disaster. And it will have the benefit of showing the world that the United States is finally willing to...
This guy overthrew the Venezuelan president. Then he overthrew the Ukraine president and threatened that if Biden was investigated on behalf of Trump, that he would remove all congressional support for Ukraine. Hold on. Then he met with Iran secretively. Treason. This guy's involved in more than 5 treasons, folks. And we sued him for treason in federal court, and he didn't answer. So therefore, the agreements that Blumenthal has with Murphy and Judge Meyer caused this. So these 2 U.S. senators taking bribes in 5G, for example, 18 bribes that I know of, they offered me a bribe and I didn't accept it. Okay, I was offered $100 million bribe on tape. These guys control the judge, Judge Meyer. As soon as Judge Meyer heard about the bribe, he dismissed the case. Like that. He dismissed the case. However, he has a habeas corpus against him for treason too. So the judge will have to find another judge to answer his own habeas corpus in a case where Mr. Climate Change
enact big, serious policy change
is building back better.
Climate change isn't a future crisis. It's a present crisis. We're living through it as we see these.
So what did these guys do? They stole the home of the guy who owns the carbon credit patent. They stole 2 homes from the guy who owns the internet arbitration patent. They've been running all over private ownership of patents in Connecticut. And it's troubling. Listen to his words. This is Mr. Sandy Hook Smurfy, who took, liberties, let's say.
Deadly record heat waves as we see more frequent flooding and storms. If you think it's bad right now.
They're ionizing the atmosphere through 5G, through satellite technology. Yeah. They're surveilling you illegally in your homes through smart meters. They're setting up a prison system in your house, and they are releasing all criminals. This guy is a socialistic bastard that needs to go to Leavenworth forever. So, We're getting very little support, but I'm going to go the distance, folks. And whether Connecticut likes it or not, I will be on the ballot this time, since I gave 57,962 signatures in 2022, and many of you voted for me. However, Connecticut is maintaining that I got 0 votes in 2022, which is not true, because pictures of the votes are available. When I ran in 2022, I asked the voters to take a picture of their ballot and send it to me. So what did Connecticut do? Everyone who signed their ballot, Connecticut changed the law that you cannot write on a ballot any longer. Why? Because the evidence in the federal court, which is now in the Second Circuit, is problematic. It's quite problematic. And we had a hearing in the appellate court on March 4th, which is quite problematic. So there are many judges with habeas corpus felony arrest warrants that Chris Murphy is protecting.
You think 2021 had an exceptional level of extreme weather events. You don't want to live through what's going to happen 10 years from now and 20 years from now if we don't reverse the pace of climate change.
What an idiot. What an idiot. Electric cars. You can't even put them in a parking garage.
The window is shrinking really, really fast. And the Build Back Better Act is bold, it's immediate, and it will have the benefit of showing the world that the United States is finally willing to enact big, serious policies.
Except that money he built into this bill went to climate change activists that support Palestine. Mr. Murphy here is a super progressive, building back better with borrowed funds that will bankrupt the currency, bankrupt the country, while his net worth goes up $5 million a month. That's what I'm told. So, tell me how he has $9 million for an election in November, and I have 15 looted bank accounts. Tell me how they have a debit card. Mr. Murphy and Mr. Blumenthal have a debit card with $50 million on it that was stolen from my brokerage firm. Did you hear what I just said? Tell me how I was offered a bribe of $100 million to make this whole thing go away. And I'll tell you, this guy won't last in the cross-examination of John J. Flynn. No, he won't. Not for a minute. So thank you very much for listening. Look at this dope. Why do you think they call it dope? Mr. Murphy is in charge of DHS, open borders, fentanyl, human trafficking, gangs, and illegal voters. Mr. Murphy set up 800,000 illegal voters in the state of Connecticut. 2,000 in 2016, 200,000 in 2016, 300,000 in 2017, 300,000 in 2018. And what's he doing? He's using an algorithm to count your votes in Spain. He's using Leonardo Spa and a Hamburg, Germany server with Iran. He's working in Iran's network. This is a very important call. Hey, you want to be on a video or not? Because I'm in the middle of one. middle of a video about Chris Murphy, but I wanted to tell you, you don't have to identify yourself. The last thing I did before they transferred the 5G case to New York City was my habeas corpus for Judge Meyer. Now, he doesn't even read it because he doesn't know about it.
Okay, I gotta go to court. Oh, all right,
Good luck. Good luck. I mean, it's huge that he won't be able to answer his own habeas corpus because they transferred it out.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Cool. That is a brilliant guy who's in court for multiple arrests, false arrests. They arrested him for criminal trespass at his own house when he has no mortgage. And his house was foreclosed upon, and the straw buyer is David Chen, who works for the DA of Westchester County. And Tamaccio and Nemec and all the DAs in Stamford set up the Norwalk Police Department to take the fall. Now 70 people, 70 police officers, and an unscrupulous state marshal stole his house. It's a very important case. It's epic. So that's my friend, and the fact of the matter is many of the plaintiffs in the Murphy 5G case in Connecticut were threatened at gunpoint. 10 protective orders were denied. 10 protective orders were denied. 2 of the plaintiffs were raped. Of the next 10 plaintiffs, all were falsely arrested. 1 was biomedically chipped and being tortured daily, and all the motions in the case were denied by Judge Meyer, who is in Chris Murphy's pocket, and will have a hard time denying it since he transferred the case the moment he found out about the bribe to me. So, I'm not afraid to talk about it. Judge Bizzuto should be afraid to talk about it. I'll tell you why. Because in my hand is version 34 of the lawsuit where Judge Bizzuto was added. Who's that? That is the chief court administrator of the state of Connecticut. That's a big deal. So, if you wouldn't mind, after talking about Chris Murphy and his Build Back Better plan, which is a total waste of money, giving money to climate activists bearding as pro-Palestinian terrorists. Okay, let's turn on the document reader. Audio input capture, display capture. Hold on. Document reader on. Johnny bye-bye. Okay. Upside down. Here we go. It always happens, folks. I want you to show you something. It's very important. This is a summons in a civil trial. This is Elizabeth Bizzuto, defendant 1. She's been orchestrating massive corruption through the federal and state courts. She's been arranging for false arrests, robbery, extortion, bribery, and here is her writ. The return date was 2/27/24. The marshal was paid. She was served. Who else was served? Marshal Gonzalez. Marshal Gonzalez tackled me on December 1st, put me in the hospital, robbed me, and I had a court appearance to be in court on 12/1. I never made it to the courtroom. He tackled me at the metal detector. He gave me a permanent leg injury. I got a blood clot behind my kneecap, and I got a blood clot in my ankle, and now I have a toe that I can't feel, which might be amputated. which is unfortunate. When you go down the list, who's this? Marshall Suda. He threatened us, so he's defendant 3. Served by John Gallup, State Marshal of Stamford, paid in cash. What do you need to know? There's the court clerk's signature right there. What's on page 2? Oh, you're going to love this. O'Donovan Murphy. O'Donovan Murphy is the chief marshal in the state of Connecticut. Defendant failed to answer the writ. Carl Cicchetti, who's that? Carl Cicchetti is the Supreme Court clerk that called me a racist Trump supporter on a recorded line. And who's that? Andre Bermudez. He is falsely claiming that I threatened to blow up the Bridgeport court. Let me repeat that. Andre Bermudez Hallstrom is the district attorney at GA2 on 172 Golden Hill, who falsely claimed that I threatened to blow up the Bridgeport court, which I never did. What I did do, and I fully admit, is that I quoted the Star-Spangled Banner on a video on Twitter. You know? Rockets, red glare, bombs bursting in air. The national anthem was quoted on Twitter, and this Andre Bermudez Hallstrom, who didn't answer the writ, assaulted me. Then they falsified the police reports. They robbed my video camera, my digital recorder, and my camera. What's on my camera is precious, folks. Totally precious. I have pictures of the sniper rifles sold to the Libyan army on that phone. Now, this is my phone now. I'm on my 9th phone. I'm on my 9th phone. The court stole 8 phones. They're using the phone software to track me with a geolocator. Surveillance of a U.S. Senate candidate in Connecticut who was falsely arrested for quoting the Star-Spangled Banner on Twitter. You can't make this stuff up. This is sensational, folks. And none of these 6 defendants, now there are 128, they were served. I paid the marshal. I paid him in cash. I recorded it. How can they say they're not served? If the marshal asks for cash, it's not a felony to pay him in cash when you record it and say, I paid you in cash, because you asked for me to pay you in cash. So what's going to happen now? I'm going to take Andre Bermudez to court. And guess who's going down with him? Elizabeth Bizzuto. Elizabeth Bizzuto, the chief administrative judge in the state of Connecticut, is covering up for who? U.S. Senator Chris Murphy, defendant in 22 CV 01065, now at the Second Circuit Court, based on an appeal after a habeas corpus was filed against Judge Meyer, who violated many laws. Many laws. First of all, as a litigator in Connecticut, I've never received discovery on a single trial. 350 trials. I've never received a deposition. I've never received articulation. I've never received clarification. I've never received interrogatories, requests for production. Nothing in 350 lawsuits. So if there's 13 in the federal court which were dismissed, I am proving by putting everything on the record that Connecticut is a criminal enterprise, that you have no civil rights at all in the state of Connecticut because the bribery is real. They offered me $100 million to make this whole thing go away, and he only has $9 million in the bank, folks. Boy, is he in trouble. Boy, is Chris Murphy in trouble, because I'm going to stick this right where the sun don't shine. What a great picture of this guy. Let's see if he has parting words.
Will inspire other countries like China, like India, to make big changes themselves.
Hold on a second. That idiot is chair of our foreign relations for Iran, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Ukraine, Israel. Hold on a second. He's starting the Third World War. He's going to cut supplies off to Israel if Israel doesn't do the Gaza ceasefire through the UN Security Council. And we don't have any other candidates running for U.S. Senate in Connecticut that understand anything. Jerry Smith got the GOP nomination. Jerry Smith is saying, I will support whoever the president is when I get into office. Jerry Smith is a liar. Jerry Smith told people he never voted for Trump. Okay. Did he vote for Biden? Probably. Now he's saying he voted, oh no, I voted for Trump. Really? Really? We have so many rhinos in the state of Connecticut that are going to get you all killed that if we don't raise some money and knock these guys out in this race, we have district attorneys worse than New York's district attorneys. We have a guy named Tamaccio. Do you know what he's done? Nemec. Horrible. The reason why Richard Colangelo is no longer chief state's attorney is because he took a bribe in a murder case called Stephen Barrier. Who paid the bribe? I am told by the father that it was Richard Blumenthal that paid the bribe through Tang, our attorney general, who is Chinese after all. The interesting thing about Tang is that his father overstayed his visa, and Tang's office has been signing all these contracts for election fraud. I am told by the Democratic National Committee that Tang falsified his own delegate signatures. And so did Jim Himes. And Jim Himes is the one that stole the $50 million from me. He had SEC, NASDAQ, and FINRA oversight. So Himes is a defendant, Murphy's a defendant, Blumenthal's a defendant, James Comey is a defendant in our Connecticut case. James Comey sold Hammer Scorecard to the Chinese, according to General McInerney, who I trust. Here we go. We got more problems stemming from these idiots in Connecticut. And if we don't vote them out, folks, if we don't get a certain amount of followers and vote these people out, I'm afraid the republic is lost. So have a great day. Please share this, bookmark it, and send it to Hearst Media, the one responsible for all corruption in the state of Connecticut. And by the way, our own legislature needs to be shut. That's Republicans included. Have a great day.